Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to the B&K's Bees channel. Kind of a channel update. I probably won't be doing any more astronomy stuff. That video didn't get any real reaction, so then that's fine. I'm glad I know now. If you guys disagree with that and think that I should continue down that line, let me know in the comments, but otherwise I'm just not going to plan on doing any more things like that. What I am planning on doing, and this is the first video in this plan, is random Friday inspections. I think just getting into a hive with no real lesson to be taught or learned, and just talking about what we're looking at, and weighing out how the hive is doing, and finding out if they're queen right, and if they need another box, all those things that come up in an inspection. I figure you guys usually like that kind of stuff, so hopefully I'll be starting this random Friday inspection thing where we'll have a new random inspection every Friday. Obviously, hence the name. So, what my plan is to start right here. This is a young hive. It's a split not that long ago, recently put into this 10-frame box. Like to see how they're doing, if they're expanding into the new frames. This queen has an interesting story behind her. She's the direct daughter of a queen, or of a hive that one of the local bee club people kind of inherited when they bought a house that was so old that the hive boxes were just crumbling. The bees inside were thriving. 2 years later, which is this year, those bees are still alive with no real effort at all. No mite mitigation, no treatment, nothing like that. And so when I found that out, that they were still alive, I asked nicely if I could get a frame of eggs from them. They allowed it. And so I grafted from her. This is one of those daughters that I have high hopes for. Alright, got a honey frame here, some pollen. Pollen throughout here are bee bread, nectar, capped honey. Nothing on that side. Lots and lots of bee bread. Once again, nectar, a few cap cells. This is all bee bread, which is good. I got these black frames as a frame replacement from Nuke sales, and it's as if they were not painted with enough wax. So we're getting these kind of streaky looking combs from it. So I'm going to have to paint more wax on those sheets of foundation. So we got a couple dark drones up here. Drone right there. Drone right there. Drones do not have stingers. So if you're looking to get into queen rearing, or just get better with handling your queens, if you ever need to pick one up, you should practice on drones. Wait for him to, you grab him right by the thorax. If he will cooperate and go up the frame for me. Grab him right by the thorax. Normally it would be the other way around, but that's how you do it when you're grabbing a queen. I try not to have to do that too often because my hands are not that steady. But the few times I have, I've learned from picking up drones. Alright, so there's a beautiful frame of capped brood. Some of those empty cells in the center have nectar, which was part of my reasoning for expanding these guys into a 10-frame box. They were backfilling everything with nectar. Nice capped brood. This is a heavy frame. You've got honey and bee bread all throughout the outer edges of it, which is precisely how you want to see it being done. Some more streaky comb. I think I'd had to scrape this at one point. There's the queen, right there in the bottom corner, walking up the frame. Alright, so now we know she's there, and we know that she's safe on this side of the box. So the rest of them, we don't have to fear that we're going to crunch her. Alright, so we've got some brood being capped here in the center, some slightly younger brood around the edges, all the way to the youngest brood and eggs out here, and then it's pretty much empty in the corners. Oh yeah, there are some eggs as far out as here. Alright, what's going on the other side? We have some capped brood. In the center of this capped brood is some bee bread and nectar. Part of that is probably me not getting these bees into their 10-frame box quick enough. But that's nothing to fret about too much. Alright, some capped brood in the center, younger brood on the edges of it, more honey. Honey on pretty much every frame, which is good. Honey up here, all throughout, on the top edges. We have some fresh eggs in and amongst some bee bread. See if maybe give it a shot at trying to catch some fresh eggs on camera. Well, hopefully you see some of those. They look like little pieces of rice sticking up in the bottoms of the cells. And if you see those, you know you've had a queen in there at least within the last 3 days, because it takes an egg 3 days to hatch into a larva. Interesting in the sense that when they hatch into a larva, they become much more difficult to see for at least a short period of time. A freshly hatched larva looks invisible, whereas an egg, once you get the hang of it, is pretty easy to spot. Alright, I'm going to move that empty one right there. This one has some food in it. I'm going to take this empty one and move it in the center. We've got pollen substitute on the top there. We went through a dearth period followed by a rainy period, and I worried about some of these young splits, so I dusted some what is it called, B-Pro onto them. So alright, I'm going to give them this blank frame in the center of a couple of brood frames. Give them a little bit of room to expand. And then I'm going to push all the frames back together, make sure that they're aligned correctly and that there's no extra space. Pushing these out of the way with my fingers. And lastly, their food frame. Alright, so that on. Bring over the top cover. Alright, so I think they look good. They probably they would have been better off moved into a 10-frame box a little bit earlier, but can't always do everything perfectly. There's considerable amounts of brood. They're packing away some food, so right now I don't have any concerns for this hive. I'm going to keep an eye on them, of course, as the year goes on, and really hope to have a good amount of these what we're calling Mary Ellen daughters, because the lady who bought that house that had that hive, her name's Mary Ellen. So I have high hopes for these Mary Ellen daughters. We have, I don't really remember how many, 8 or 10 of them. So yeah, I'm excited about that. All right, so this is the first of the Random Inspection Friday. I hope you guys like that. Once again, if you do, leave a comment or click like, and then I'll know to continue doing these and try to stockpile some so we have some going through winter. But yeah, thanks for watching. Get out there and have some fun with your bees.